Hi everybody, welcome to another week of Makers Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka Stampin' Blondie, and I'm so excited as I get to create for you today as I continue with my Valentine's Day crafting series. Now, I hope you all had an amazing weekend. I spent some time relaxing and just working in the craft room, trying to get ahead of class designs and some other projects that I needed to work on. So hopefully you had time this weekend to work on some crafting as well. All right, let me make sure that I'm live here on Facebook. Let me swap over to my comments up here so I can see, and then hit refresh. If you're watching here on Facebook live, make sure to comment, say hi, let me know where you're joining me from. If you're watching this over on YouTube, do the same, or if you're watching this on replay via Facebook or YouTube, make sure to comment, replay, and let me know where you watched from this week. It's always fun to see where everybody is joining me each week. All right, looks like I am live here on Facebook. There we go. I can move my mouse off to the side. So like I said, today I'll be continuing my Valentine's Day crafting series featuring the brand new Share a Milkshake bundle from the January to April mini catalog, which just debuted last week. Now there are so many fun Valentine's Day products in this new catalog, and so each week I'll be crafting with you with a new bundle for you to be able to see these fun new supplies. Hello Nancy, hi Dawn, hi Carol. I hope you guys all had an amazing weekend, and thank you for joining me here today. All right, so like I mentioned, today I'll be featuring the new Share a Milkshake stamp set. So here is what that looks like. We're going to be doing some fun crafting projects with this. Now, if you like these week's projects, you can always receive this week's Makers Mondays projects. If you place an order of $35, I'll send you the make and take projects for this week for free. If you place an order of $50 or more using the host code below, you'll get the free opaque gems. These are new from the new mini catalog as well, so they will be used on all of my projects here today for that. All right, let's go ahead and swap the camera. I've got just a couple quick announcements things, and then we'll jump right into our projects for this week. So let me go ahead and swap. There we go. First up, Winter Stampin' Bingo. If you are wanting to attend the virtual event, my in-person Tucson event is sold out, but there's still time to register for my virtual event. The deadline is today. So registration includes make and take projects featuring the new Love Cats stamp set. So this is the stamp set that we'll be using. You can add this on to your bingo class kit and create the exact projects that we'll be making for bingo, or you can substitute with whatever you have in your craft supply. I love this stamp set because not only does it have these really cute cats, but it has these sentiments that are some fun, little punny sentiments that go along with the cats. Like, I love hanging out with you. That is such a fun sentiment here. So, Love Cats, deadline to register for Winter Stampin' Bingo. Virtual option is all that is left. In person is sold out. Deadline is today. You'll have make and take projects with the Love Cat stamp set. We'll be doing door prizes. You'll receive a product goodie bag, and then of course, bingo fun. So if you're interested, there is a link in the description of this video to be able to register. Deadline is today, and online version is Sunday, January 22nd at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And it does include shipping as well, so your class kit does include that. All right, next up is Celebration. So Celebration kicked off last week. If you are not too familiar with what Celebration is, it is Stampin' Up's biggest promotion. that is held once a year. Celebration is for every $50 you purchase, you get to choose a free item out of this celebration brochure. There's everything from stamp sets, designer series paper, and some of it even coordinates with our items in our new mini catalog. Now, if you place a $50 item order, you get a free celebration item and our opaque gems for today's Makers Monday project. So kind of a win-win for celebration. Now, if your wish list is longer than $99, now is the time to join the Stampin' Blondie team. There's no requirements to host classes, sell, or do Facebook Lives. You can purchase for yourself in what I like to call happy shoppers, and you get a 20% off of all of your future orders. Now, the sign-up promotion for Celebration, there's 3 different options. The first one is you can receive the exclusive brand new Boho Blue Stampin' Mini Cut and Emboss machine. This is, you get to choose this plus $175 worth of your choice of products for only $129. Now, I'll let you know, this machine alone is $63. So that is an amazing deal for $175 worth of your choice of products and the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in Boho Blue. If blue's not really your thing, you have the option to get the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in white. Same thing, $175 worth of products, machine in white for $129 worth of products. Now, if you're saying I already have the machine, but I'd still like to join the Stampin' Blondie team, $175 of your choice of products for $99. So that is an amazing deal as well. So we are a group of demonstrators from all over the country. No pressure to sell, teach classes, or host events. And we just would love to have you on our team. My husband just commented, why do I have 2? Well, I had to get the one in blue, of course. I had to have 2. You have to have one in every color. So the Boho Blue Stampin' Mini Cut and Emboss machine is only available to new demonstrators joining during a celebration. All right, so that is all I have for announcements today. The last thing is Prize Patrol. So if you are new here, where did I put Prize Patrol? Here it is. If you are new here, each week I do something called Prize Patrol. This is, all you have to do is share my video, comment that you shared, and you'll be entered into Prize Patrol. Now, sometimes your Facebook security settings don't always let me know if you have shared. So make sure to comment that you shared and you'll be entered into Prize Patrol. Last week's Prize Patrol were the Flowers Adhesive Backed Trinkets. These are gold and silver. There's silver flowers underneath. And the winner of Prize Patrol for last week was Peggy Barth. So congratulations, Peggy. I'm not sure if you're watching. I'm not sure if I've seen your comment come through today, but I know you always watch. So congratulations, Peggy. You are the Prize Patrol winner from last week. Now, this week's Prize Patrol is a package of the silver and gold designer series paper. Now, there are different designs in here, and the best part about this is that you can color this with Stampin' Blends, sponge daubers, your blending brushes to be able to change the color of the background, and the metallic portion of the paper will resist the ink and stay metallic. So, Prize Patrol for this week is this silver and gold 6x6 designer series paper. All you have to do is share this video, comment that you shared, and you'll be entered into Prize Patrol. So good luck to all those that share my video this week. All right, today, let's grab all of this here. Today I'm featuring the Share a Milkshake stamp set. This is actually a bundle, so we have our stamp set and coordinating dies to go along with this from the new January to April mini catalog. Now this is found on page 12, and there's some really fun designs here that the Stampin' Up! Concept art team has come up with. But I will also be featuring, these are called the new opaque adhesive backed dots. So you receive 3 different sizes: Gorgeous Grape, Melon Mambo, Fresh Freesia, and Basic White for those. And this is the item that you receive free with a $50 purchase. using the host code that's on your screen. Now the 3 projects right here that I'll be featuring today also feature the Country Gingham 6x6 designer series paper. Now this designer series paper actually also coordinates with the Country Bouquet bundle that I showcased last week, so it is kind of a all-in-one designer series paper. Now this comes in 3 designs of Petal Pink, 3 designs of Sweet Sorbet, and then you have Balmy Blue and Mint Macaron. So there's these fun different patterns that aren't just for, say, Valentine's Day, even though that's what I'll be using them here for today. Now these projects in this designer series paper is great for baby cards, birthday cards, spring, a variety of different cards here. And look at my fun little paper clip there. It's a little dachshund. My husband got me these for Christmas. So this is the 6x6 Country Gingham designer series paper. It's on the same page as the Country Floral designer series paper from last week. All right, so I forgot to grab off my printer, but don't forget, each week on my website, stampinblondie.com, I have my project PDF tutorial. It has all of the item names, item numbers, the prices, and the dimensions to the 3 projects that we're going to create here today. And these are, here's our first one. This is such a fun sentiment, you're the cherry on top. So we'll be doing this in Mint Macaron and Melon Mambo. Life is Sweeter Than You, where we're going to create our own little waffle cones here. And then Be My Valentine, which is this fun little milkshake here on the side. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our first card with the Mint Macaron and our Melon Mambo. So we have a piece of Mint Macaron cardstock, 5 1/4 or 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. All the dimensions are on that PDF from my website, so you can go ahead and grab that. First post that's on there every morning, Monday morning when I have Makers Monday. We have a piece of that Mint Macaron gingham paper, and we're just gonna add that right to the middle of our card base. So right there. All right, and then we have a piece of basic white cardstock. We're gonna do some stamping onto our basic white cardstock here. Let me just grab, I have it behind my setup here. I'm gonna need my piece of scratch paper for one of my projects, so I just wanted to grab that. All right, we also have a piece of scratch basic white cardstock, and we're gonna do some stamping on there as well. So our 2 ink colors here today, Mint Macaron and Melon Mambo, as well as our Tuxedo Black ink. Let's get our stamps over here. So the first one we're gonna do is we're gonna stamp our milkshake. Now this, it is meant to be offset. So you have your kind of design to the left of the background here. And we're gonna stamp that in mint. There we go. Ink that up. And then that's just gonna go onto the right side of our paper. Now, while I have this ink pad open, we're also gonna stamp the top of our little second dish here. Now that's gonna be on this spare piece of basic white, and we're gonna die cut that out. So I'm just gonna stamp that and kind of put that off to the side while we work on the rest. All right, Melon Mambo, we're gonna stamp our dish. So we've got our little dish here, and that's just gonna go on the left side. And then again, while we have this one open, we're going to stamp the top of this milkshake, and then we're gonna die cut that out as well. So we're gonna stamp that onto our spare piece of cardstock there. And we can close that up and put that away. All right, let's do some die cutting. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm gonna cut, because we're gonna use our boho glue mini machine. I haven't used the boho blue machine yet, so this will be really fun. And our dies. So these are the Share a Milkshake dies. This can be purchased as a bundle with the stamp set or alone. These dies are really fun because they coordinate, some of the images coordinate with our stamps, and some of them are standalone as well. So we need this big one and our mini piece here. We're also going to die cut, while we have our machine out, our spoon. And for that, I'm using just a piece of silver foil paper. And we're gonna die cut our spoon on that. And our little cherry. This is in a Melon Mambo to coordinate with the rest. And I just have a spare piece of Melon Mambo cardstock. And we're gonna cut out our cherry as well. So let's move all this out of the way and bring in our machine. It's new, so it's still not as loosened up as my white one is. All right, the first thing, we're gonna die cut our spoon with our silver foil paper and run that through. Now I'm just using my old plates from my white machine because I don't want to use my brand new plates from this machine just yet. So these are the old plates. And then we have this fun little silver spoon that we die cut with our foil paper. All right, next we're gonna die cut our cherry with our little Melon Mambo paper here. Run that through. And this is the perfect way to use scraps. Like I have so many scraps of all these papers, and all these small little die cut pieces are perfect for that. All right, we're gonna die cut these two pieces at the same time. Now, because we already stamped, we want to line these up and keep them down with our washi tape. Now, washi tape, if you're not too familiar with it, it's just paper tape, and it holds your dies in place as you run it through the machine. Because we already stamped, we don't want our dies to move, and we want it to cut out that whole image without, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even on camera. There we go. You want to use washi tape to hold those in place when you run it through the machine to be able to cut out that stamped image. All right, so we're just gonna line up our dies here, and with a little washi tape, it'll hold it right in place as we die cut. All right, that's it for this one. So we're gonna move that off to the side. And our plates too. Now, when you lift off the washi tape, you just wanna be careful because it can rip your paper. So just peel it off slowly and it will come right off. There we go. Now, on this die cut piece, you may notice that it has this kind of curved indent here. Now, this cut creates like a little slit in that part so that we can put our spoon right into our milkshake. Now, the stamp set also has these two pieces right here, and those are straws. So you can stamp and die cut those and add that into that little slit as well. But for this project, we're just gonna add the spoon into that little slit die cut there. And I'll show you on one of my next projects where I don't use a spoon and I don't use the straw, but what I do to kind of cover that little slit up. Okay, we're coming back in with our stamped part here. And the first piece we're gonna adhere down is our dish portion, our ice cream. So we're just gonna add this on with liquid glue, and that's just gonna go right on top of our piece there. Now our milkshake topper, this is gonna go on with dimensionals. We're just gonna add one dimensional, and I'm just gonna cut like kind of a teeny tiny dimensional piece because I want to get that spoon still in that slit. And we're gonna put the spoon back in, and I'm gonna cut another little, maybe like a little small dimensional slit cut, and that's gonna go on that end of the spoon, and that'll kind of hold it in place on that edge right there. So we're gonna peel off our dimensional stickers, the backings, and put that right on top here of our milkshake, and then that will just kind of, the edge of the spoon will adhere to the edge of our white piece there. So it'll hang off just a little bit, that's okay. And on the back of that, we're gonna add our liquid glue and then put that right in the middle of our card base. So that'll go right there. Now I already pre-die cut from the Stylish Shapes dies. This is a piece of mint macaron, and we're gonna stamp the sentiment that says, "You're the cherry on top." And we're gonna use our tuxedo black ink for that. I tried to coordinate my sentiments. Now, I may go off camera a little bit. I just wanna make sure this is such a small circle and a bigger sentiment that I just wanna make sure I'm in the middle. I wanted to coordinate my sentiments with my designs, of course. So with the "You're the cherry on top," that'll go perfect with our little cherry. And we're gonna add dimensionals to the back here. There we go. And that'll just go right in kind of the upper left of that part. Now with our little cherry, now this is teeny tiny, so you definitely want to use liquid glue on that, and we're just going to add it right to kind of the fruit area. I'm not putting any on the stem, and that'll go on this little sundae dish right down there. Now I have, if I can find it, there we go, linen thread. This is probably my most versatile thread. I use this on a lot of projects because it goes with everything. So we're going to take 2 pieces of this thread, about 7-8 inches long. I'm just kind of guesstimating here. And I probably have longer than I need, but that's okay. So I'm going to take that and just kind of pull it through my finger to make it straighten out a little bit. And then we're going to take this and tie this into a bow. Yeah, I grabbed too much thread. That's okay. I think it's better to have too much than not enough. It's very hard to tie it when you don't have enough. So there we go. And just want to make our loops the size that we want. And you always kind of want to pull them together so they're the same. You can get it where you want it, pull it tight, and then trim all 4 tails at the same time. Now with this linen thread, I like to use mini glue dots because it helps it adhere a little bit better, and you don't have to wait for anything to dry. So I just take my glue dot, kind of form it into a little ball, and then that's gonna go right in the middle of that sundae dish. Now as the final touch, we have my opaque gems. Where did they go? Just had them. There they are under my stamp set. So I'm gonna use the spatula end on my Take Your Pick tool, and we're gonna use one of the larger size gems and right there in the lower right, and then one of the medium sized gems right next to it. And that is our first project for this week's Share a Milkshake class to go. So I hope you guys like this one. A fun layout. You could really swap up the colors with this one and really do whatever color background you want for this project. So I hope you guys like this one. I loved the Share a Milkshake I love how cute it is and very kind of retro. And this melon mambo and mint together definitely has that kind of 1950s retro feel to it. So that's our first project. All right, second one, here we go. This is our second project here today, and we're gonna create these really fun little waffle cones. Now I'm gonna bring it up here so I hope you guys can see this. These have little like diamond patterns in them like a waffle cone would. So very fun to be able to create these, and this die right here is what does that. So in the class kit this week for this project, you have a piece of fresh freesia cardstock, 4 1/4 by 11. So we're making an easel card with for this project this week. And we're just gonna put that off to the side. Now I have a piece, just a scrap piece of crumb cake cardstock. And this is what we're gonna use to die cut our waffle cone pieces. So I'm going to just trim this up because this won't fit through my mini machine with the size of this cardstock. So we're going to take our machine here and our plates. And the fun thing about this die is that it die cuts and embosses at the same time. So we're just gonna run this through to create our first waffle cone. So it comes in like a trifold. There, you can see that little diamond pattern on there. So there's the first one. And like I said, this is just scrap paper that I had from creating other projects. So I always keep my scraps, and then you can use them on other projects as well. So there's our second waffle cone. Now we're also going to use this little die right here, and that's gonna be our chocolate sauce for our 2 separate pieces there. So I just have, again, a scrap piece of early espresso cardstock, and we're just gonna die cut these little guys. Now this card is just mostly layering all the pieces. So you'll do some die cutting, but then once you have it all die cut, it's very easy to just put everything together. Now, if you notice that your cardstock gets stuck in your die, there's these 2 little holes on there, and then you can just use your take your pick tool and just kind of poke in there, and your piece of cardstock will just come right out. There we go. So that's what those little holes are for on the die. There's our second. And we'll have to do some stamping first, and then we'll die cut our other piece. All right, basic white, another scrap here. We're going to use on this one fresh freesia and balmy blue. And for this one, we're going to use this part, this stamp, the one that we just did for our last card. Let me grab my scrubber. There we go. We're gonna clean off our stamp from our last project. This is the Stampin' Scrub. One side you spray with our Stampin' Mist, and then the other side is dry. So then you can just dry your stamps right off. All right, we're going to stamp right here. Fresh freesia first. And just a scratch piece of basic white. Oh, that's too close to the edge. Let's move it up a little higher. There we go. It was too close to the edge and our die wouldn't have fit in there very well. And we're gonna clean off again. And move on to balmy blue. You always want to clean your stamps in between inks. You don't want to mix and match your inks together. So definitely clean them off in between. All right, we're going to cut this out and then die cut here. Just like our last one, we're going to use some washi tape. That'll help hold our dies in place. Now, the best part of washi tape is that you can reuse it until it loses its stickiness. So, same piece of washi tape from before, and then we're just going to run it through our machine. Okay, and then once more, just being careful to lift that washi tape and not tear our paper. Here we go, once more, and then we can assemble. So like I said, kind of a lot of die cutting on this one, but once you have it all, it's very easy die cutting, and then once you have it all die cut out, it's just assemble. So very easy to do. All right. Susan, she said, hi from Scotland. I'm gonna be over in your neck of the woods in May. I'm visiting England and Norway and Iceland on a trip. So very excited. All right, our little waffle cone pieces. So what we're gonna do is on here, you can see there's kind of like the diamond weave, but then there's also these score lines. So we're gonna fold and take our bone folder and crisp up our line. Now before we fold the next one, we're gonna take our sponge dauber and crumb cake ink. So tone on tone stamping here. We're just gonna take our crumb cake ink and sponge dauber, and we're gonna take that and daub right on top of our cone. So this will give it more of a realistic waffle cone look. Waffle cones, because they're waffles, they have that like toasty kind of look to them. So we've just taken our sponge dauber on one half there. You can see the difference on each side. And then we're gonna fold over the second side and use our bone folder again to crisp up that line. And then our sponge dauber just to add that crumb cake ink to the top here. Now you could use your blending brushes, but because you're just doing such a small area on the cone, you don't need a whole blending brush for that part. So here's the difference. You can see one, here the edges are browned, and here next to it, it's not. So when you fold it together, you have that kind of browned edge of your waffle cone. All right. We'll do the second one here. So fold, use your bone folder and your sponge dauber with crumb cake ink to just brown the edges of your waffle cone. And then same thing, fold over. And that one die does those indentations, and it does the little diamond pattern of the waffle cone. So very fun to be able to kind of have like an all-in-one die there. All right, and we can close up our crumb cake. All right, our little waffle cone piece here, we're gonna add some of our liquid glue to one side on the inside first and fold. Kind of use our bone folder to hold that down a little bit, and then on the other side and fold. So you just make that little cone pocket. Now another thing you can do with this, as I was creating these projects, I was looking at this and I was like, what else could this be? If you have ever had a Euro, you could put this in here. It's kind of also looks like a little pita pocket. So you could make this into a taco, you could make this into a pita pocket, just something fun and a different way to be able to use one item for multiple things. So we're gonna add our liquid glue on this side and close that up. Same thing on this side and close that up. And there we go. So we have our 2 little waffle cones. Now our pieces here of ice cream, we're gonna add some glue. And the best part about liquid glue is that you have a few seconds to kind of shift and shimmy your glue, which works perfect because we're just gonna tuck it in right into our ice cream cone. Same thing with our fresh freesia piece here. And tuck that right in. And of course you could always create like a double scoop, triple scoop, just adding more and more, but that is just a 1 scoop. And we're gonna add our chocolate syrup on top. So here's our little chocolate sauce that we cut from early espresso cardstock. And here we go, a little bit of glue on there. And right on top there. So now we have our 2 little waffle cone pieces here, and now we can assemble the rest of our card. So that was like the hardest part of the whole project. The rest of it is very, very easy. All right, we are gonna use on the stamp, there is this one that is these 3 little hearts, and we're gonna create our own background using fresh freesia ink on fresh freesia cardstock. So tone on tone, and all I'm doing is I'm just stamping the left side of the card, and I'm just kind of working my way up. No specific way, I'm just stamping wherever it lands. There we go, just kind of creating my own, oh, if you guys could see that, creating my own kind of designer series paper background piece there with our fresh freesia ink. Right, I have a piece of that Country Gingham 6x6 designer series paper. This is the balmy blue side, and I'm gonna add this to my card base on the right hand side. So that kind of covers up that space there where there's not much where it's kind of, there's no stamping, so it just covers that up. And next I have a piece of vellum cardstock. So this is semi-opaque. If you've never worked with vellum, you can see here, you can see through it. When you work with vellum, you have to be aware because glue will show through exactly where you put it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're not gonna glue that to our card base just yet. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add dimensionals to the back of our ice cream cones. And then we're gonna add those to our piece of vellum. So we've got our dimensionals, peel off the backing. I'm sorry if you guys hear a crying dog in the background. Leia, she constantly has to be near me lately, and she's crying. I can hear her crying out there. She wants me. All right, and there are our 2 cones. Now we're gonna flip this over, and where the background of our cones are, we're gonna add our liquid glue just right there. And that will ensure that none of our glue shows through when we add this down to our card. Now, you may see that some pieces here are not glued down, so I'm gonna show you some tricks about doing that as well. But first, we're gonna stamp our sentiment. So this says, "Life is sweeter with you," and we're gonna use balmy blue ink for this one. So we're gonna stamp that right in the middle of our piece of basic white cardstock. Oh, I missed a little bit there. Let's flip it over and see if that will show through there better. There we go, full sentiment now. Mary says she loves this set and it's on her wish list. So this was one of the first sets I got when we could pre-order as demonstrators. I loved this set, so I definitely wanted to add it. All right, that's gonna go on with our liquid glue. So this is gonna help adhere this kind of piece of paper here that's flapping in the wind. So that is gonna tuck under there, and that'll help hold that part of our vellum down. Now our part of our vellum up here where nothing is being holding it down, we're gonna take 2 of the large Fresh Freesia opaque gems. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 of those. So we'll put those on first. And then 1 more is gonna go down here. So I'll just add that on there as well. But then we're gonna take our mini glue dots. We're not gonna put it in a ball or anything. We're just gonna take it, lift up, kind of flip our card around, lift up our vellum, see where that dot is, and add a mini glue dot right where the dot is. So that'll cover up the glue dot and it'll help hold down that piece of vellum right there. So you have this glued up here with no glue showing in the background here, and then your corner down here is glued, and then behind your waffle cones is glued as well. Now 1 more place, we're gonna add a piece of this white seam binding crinkle ribbon, and that is gonna go in this lower right hand corner right here, and that'll help adhere that part down as well. So just kind of hiding your adhesive behind embellishments or sentiment pieces really helps keep that vellum glued all the way down, and then you can make sure that your adhesive is on there without showing through. All right, got our ribbon tied, and then I'm just gonna trim this at an angle. Now, if you've never worked with this seam binding crinkle ribbon, it's very thin and it can fray quite easily. So I just like to trim the edges at an angle, and then with my glue dots, I'm going to add 1 to the back of that, and that'll go there in the lower right corner, and then you can add some more glue dots on here just to kind of hold the ribbon down, and then it'll also hold that piece of vellum paper down. So kind of lots of glue dots hidden in spaces you can't see them. There we go. And that is our second project featuring the Share a Milkshake stamp set. So I love these little waffle cones. I can't wait to create other things with them. But this is a fun project that isn't just for Valentine's Day. This is a great birthday card, just a baby shower card. If you don't know the gender, this is kind of a fun baby shower card. So just kind of an all-around good occasion card, just to send a friend as well. So that's our second project here today with the Share a Milkshake stamp set. All right, our last project here, I wanted to do a traditional Valentine's Day project, of course, because this is my Valentine's Day crafting series. So I wanted to do a red and pink card. Now this is actually Sweet Sorbet and Petal Pink, a really good color combination for Valentine's Day. All right, we have here a piece of basic white cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, your standard card size. And we're just gonna use our bone folder here to crisp up our line. There we go. And we're gonna put that off to the side. I have some stuff in the way that I need to move. I have 4 pieces of that Country Gingham Designer Series paper. Now I chose 2 Sweet Sorbet and 2 Petal Pink, and they're all different designs. So they, when we coordinate them, Petal Pink, Sweet Sorbet, Petal Pink, Sweet Sorbet, they're not all the same design next to it. So what I did is our card is portrait, but for this part of the project, I'm gonna work in landscape just because it is a little easier to do this portion of the card when your card base is landscape. So we're gonna start from the right side of the card and work our way to the left. So I'm gonna use multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're gonna adhere our gingham paper to our card base with just leaving a little bit of white space at the top. Right, and now that'll be our guide to work our way down the rest of the card. So we're gonna grab our sweet sorbet piece, and then we're just gonna kind of butt that up against our last piece here. Now I'm using multi-purpose liquid glue for this because if it's not in the exact same spot that I want it to be, I have a few seconds to kind of shift and shimmy my paper to get it exactly where I need it. Our next piece is petal pink again, different design. Add that right there. And then our last piece of sweet sorbet. Now I will say, when I was designing this card, this actually was meant to be in a landscape. But as soon as I was working with it, I knew I wanted to use this die cut piece from the scallop contours. And to me, it looked okay, but I wasn't a big fan of it this way. So I turned it into portrait, and I really liked this way instead. So that's how this design came to fruition a little bit. For this card, we are using Petal Pink ink and Sweet Sorbet. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stamp our Milkshake base, just like our first Milkshake card that we used. It has that fun kind of offset design there. And let me just make sure I got all my stuff cleaned off here for this project. There we go. So Sweet Sorbet is our first one, and we're gonna ink up and stamp. This is just gonna be right in the middle of our die cut piece here. There we go. Now, while I have Sweet Sorbet also open, I'm gonna stamp my sentiment, which says "Be My Valentine." And that's gonna go right in that lower right. Let me just make sure this is, there we go. Make sure it was straight before I stamped it. All right, next we're going to ink up that Milkshake topper, and that's gonna be in Petal Pink. And we're gonna stamp that on our spare piece of basic white again. There we go. And I had mentioned before that this stamp, or this die, has that kind of half-shaped cutout where you can add the spoon or the straw into the milkshake like we did that first project. But I didn't want to add a spoon or a straw to this one. I just wanted to add this little cherry. So that will actually cover up that little slit from the die, and you won't even know it's there. I actually put the cherry on this side. You can see it. I took it off, but I put the cherry on this side, but then it had that little slit there, and I thought it just looked strange, so I peeled off the cherry, moved it in a different spot, and I like how it covers up that little indentation. All right, our boho blue mini, and we're gonna use our washi tape again. Hopefully you guys can see that. Our washi tape to die cut our Milkshake topper. Same piece, and we're gonna die cut our cherry in here as well. So 2 die cuts at once. This, again, spare piece of Sweet Sorbet cardstock from another project. You can see that actually, I think, was from last week, one of last week's projects. So just a spare piece, great way to use up some of your, get this out here so I can put that on there a little better. Just a great way to use up some of your scraps. We all have scraps, and this is the perfect way to get rid of some of them. Okay, our plates, our little cherry, and our topper. All right, we're done with die cutting. There we go. So for our topper, we're gonna peel off that washi tape, just being careful not to rip the paper. and you can see like that little cut that's in there. If you had just left it with the cherry on the other side, it just kind of looks strange. So that's why I wanted to kind of cover that up with the cherry. All right, we're gonna add our milkshake to, well, this milkshake base to our card using our dimensionals. So this will be popped up, and then the milkshake topper that we stamped in petal pink, that'll be popped up as well. So I always like just to kind of pop up key points of the project. Now, because we're not gonna add anything into that slit, I can add a dimensional right over it, and it doesn't matter because nothing's gonna poke right through there. Peel off our backings and add that to our card base. Trying not to get that stuck to my hand. And that's just gonna go kind of on the left-hand side so that you can see all of the pieces of Designer Series paper. Our topper right there. And then our cherry is just gonna go with liquid glue. And that's gonna go right over that little slit. So it covers it right up and you can't even see that it was under there. So that is just a perfect little thing there. Now for my ribbon, well, twine, I'm gonna be using the Sweet Sorbet twine. This is from the 2022-2024 in color Baker's Twine assortment pack. That's kind of a whole mouthful there. But we're gonna take 2 pieces of this and we're gonna tie it into a bow and adhere it with our mini glue dots. There we go. Again, just kind of peel it through your fingers and your nail just to kind of straighten it out a little bit. Again, I probably used too much, but I have plenty, so there are, I think, 5 yards on each roll, so I've been using this a lot and I still have quite a bit left. So there we go. And just pull our ears out here so they kind of line up. Wink of Stella on the cherry. I was gonna add Wink of Stella on the petal pink, on the milkshake part. But you read my mind, Courtney. We can add Wink of Stella onto the cherry. And I'll show you what that looks like. All right, we're gonna add our mini glue dot. There we go. And that's just gonna go there. And then our opaque gems, we're gonna add 3 of the white ones of the large size. Oh, that one kind of flew across my table. Let's use the spatula end. There we go. And one's gonna go down there and here and there. So there's the project. And now we're gonna add a little bit of Wink of Stella because it was requested. Now, if you aren't familiar with what Wink of Stella is, it is a glitter brush. Now, I just got a new one, so I'm gonna use a new one. Wink of Stella is a glitter brush. I do not have any loose glitter in my craft room. If you follow me, you know that my husband is active duty military and glitter is a big no-no with military uniforms. So Wink of Stella is great because it is controlled. It's kind of like a liquid and it doesn't get glitter everywhere. Now, if you have a brand new Wink of Stella, that's what this is, so I'll show you. There's this black ring here. So you want to remove the ring, kind of toss that, and then screw the top back on, and then over a spare piece of paper. Do not do this over your project. Ask me how I know. I've had big globs of glitter on my project before. So you just kind of squeeze it until the glitter comes out. It's clear, so you can see it coming through, and it's just a paintbrush. So you can see it just adds a little bit of shimmer and shine to your project. So we're gonna add Wink of Stella to our cherry here. And the best part about this is that it is buildable. So if you don't like the amount of glitter that is on the first time you do it, you can always add more. So you can see, let me see if it catches. There you go. You can see a little bit of shine there for our cherry on top of our milkshake. So here is our third project featuring the Share the Milkshake bundle from the January to April mini catalog and this week's class to go. All right, I hope you guys like this project. I'm gonna bring in all three that we made here today. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. So we have our traditional Valentine's Day card, our waffle cone project, and then our cherry on top with our mint and melon mambo. So let me know which one is your favorite. I definitely think the Valentine's Day one is cute, but waffle cone definitely steps it up just a little bit. So let me know which one in the comments here is your favorite this week. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining me for another week of Makers Monday. As a reminder, if you want to create your own Makers